me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
Again?
Nothing up my sleeve. Presto! No doubt about it. I gotta get another hat.
Now here's something we hope you'll really like.
Well, it looks as if our heroes have finally melted the myth of the abominable snowman. The awesome creature turned out to be the two moon men, Gidney and Cloyd, in disguise.
I thought it would be a funny joke.
Funny? It was a panic.
But when the moon men learned that Rocky and Bullwinkle were going to return the mooseberry bush to the USA, their faces fell.
That means we can't make the rocket fuel from it. And we'll never get to go home again.
It was then that Rocky made his decision.
Bullwinkle, I'm going to send Gidney and Cloyd back to the moon.
And let down the entire US of A?
No, wait. I got a plan. But first we have to get back home.
Well, that was easier said than done, for at that moment their nemesis, Boris Badenov, was receiving his latest set of instructions right across the head.
So you have failed again, Badenov.
But fearless leader, the snowman
You
was
left your post.
100 feet high.
Deserted in face of enemy.
3 sets of teeth.
Didn't get mooseberries.
All sharp.
Didn't get rid of moose and squirrel.
Like razor blade. Hit me with that last one again.
Didn't get rid of moose and squirrel.
But we did.
Boris.
Shut up, Natasha.
You got rid of moose and squirrel?
Would I forget such a thing? I might be coward, turncoat, double-crosser, but I'm not sloppy.
They are kaput?
Of course.
But Boris.
Natasha, we left them with snowmen. What do you think happened to them? That's right.
If moose and squirrel were still alive, your life wouldn't be worth a plugged kopeck.
Of course.
Good job, Badenov. Have cigar.
Thank you, fearless leader.
You can call me FL.
And the triumphant Boris and Natasha made their way to the exit of the underground headquarters of Central Control.
Push up manhole cover, darling.
I can't. Somebody's standing on it.
Hey, you got the hiccups, Bullwinkle?
No, must be an earthquake.
Boris, you hear that?
Is the moose that indestructible nitwit?
Something wrong, Badenov?
No, not at all, they fell.
Then open manhole.
Is somebody standing on it? Let's wait till later, eh? How about next summer?
Out of way, Badenov. I open it.
And open it he did, for at that time Bullwinkle was no longer standing on the cover.
This is your idea of joke, Badenov?
Of course not, they fell.
Fearless leader to you, Badenov.
Yes, fearless leader.
And give me my cigar.
And the head of the spy ring made his exit, leaving a badly shaken Boris.
What's going to happen if he sees moose and squirrel alive?
Well, you're in hot water again, darling.
I'm always in hot water. I'm beginning to feel like teabag. Oh, Natasha, why I couldn't be a successful villain?
Cheer up, Boris. To me, you will always be a dirty, double-crossing skunk.
Oh, Natasha, you always know the right thing to say.
Meanwhile, our heroes were having their own troubles.
We want 4 tickets on the first boat leaving Pennsylvania.
All right, what's so doggone hilarious?
You crazy fools! Everybody wants to leave Pennsylvania.
Sure enough, every dock, airport, and train station was simply jammed with people trying to get out of Pennsylvania. And they were all ahead of Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Doggone it, first they say Yankee go home, then they won't let us leave.
Well, it looks as if our heroes are in Pennsylvania to stay. Be sure to see our next episode, The Pennsylvania Permanent, or I've Grown Accustomed to the Place.
And now it's time for...
Time for the dancing fool, Bullwinkle.
Again? And now for one of our special fairy tales.
Yeah.
You all remember the story of Sleeping Beauty? How as a baby she was put under a spell by a wicked fairy. How when she had grown up she pricked her finger with a needle and fell into a deep sleep from which she could be wakened only by a kiss. You remember, too, how a fence of thorns grew round the castle to prevent anybody from entering.
Anybody but me, that is.
And just who are you?
A prince, naturally. Don't you see the robes, the crown? You want to see my ID card?
Well, how do you propose to enter the castle?
Easy. I haul out my trusty broadsword and... They don't make broadswords like they used to.
The prince was distraught. What was he to do?
I'll show you. These they make like they used to.
The prince made straight for the tower room.
Sleeping Beauty, I've come at last. With one kiss, I shall waken you and... Wait a minute. Awake, she's just another princess. Asleep, she's a gold mine. I can see it now. Sleeping Beauty comics, Sleeping Beauty hats, Sleeping Beauty bubble gum, and biggest of all, Sleeping Beauty Land.
Sure enough, the castle was soon made ready as a great tourist attraction. There was Moat Land.
Have your X coupons ready, please. Have your X coupons ready.
There was Entrance Hall Land.
Y coupons, please.
There was Stair Land.
That's a Z coupon, folks. A Z coupon.
And, of course, Sleeping Beauty herself. Sleeping Beauty Land was clearly a great success.
1,000,001, 1,000,002. Sorry, the castle's closed till 8 a.m.
Hold it, Junior. I'm Yolanda, the wicked fairy that put Sleeping Beauty to sleep.
Well, that calls for some free coupon books.
Books, Nook, I want half of this whole setup, or else.
Else what?
Else I use my magic powers to wake her up.
Well, now, we can't have that, can we, partner? And you are my partner, and a charming one at that. Now, wouldn't you like to see some of our Sleeping Beauty Land?
Why not?
Just step this way to Dungeon Land.
My, this is spooky.
Well, it's very popular. Some people stay here for a long, long time.
How does it work?
Well, I put these around your wrist, you see?
Yes?
Then I leave. Well, have a good time. I'll see you in a couple of years, kid.
So, once again, the prince was in business for himself.
1,064,000, 1,065,000.
Hiya, honey.
You're back. You broke the chains.
Yeah, they don't make them like they used to.
Well, partner, how about trying our special submarine ride?
Keen.
The cement is just a safety precaution. The city makes us do it.
I like the way it squishes between my toes.
It's quick drying, too. There. Not squishy now, is it?
If I like this one, can I go again?
I'm afraid not. It's more of a one-way ride.
So the prince was once more without a partner.
4,000,002, 4,000,003.
Hello, I'm back. That ride was more fun, especially that first part.
But-
Imagine half of all this is mine.
Yes, including the souvenir sales.
Souvenirs? How much do they sell for?
Well, this one is 75 cents. This one is $1. The Sleeping Beauty cowboy lasso is only $1.69. Now, let's see. Carry the 4 and... Say, you're in luck, little lady.
I am.
You betcha. You also get the official Sleeping Beauty Land moon rocket as a bonus gift.
Goody. I've always wanted
And the clever prince had apparently solved his problem. But soon he had another one. For the next morning, the crowds outside the castle were smaller, and the next day, smaller still. Clearly, Sleeping Beauty was a slipping beauty. And the prince was very sad indeed. Then, suddenly...
Hiya, sweetie. I'm back. And was that ever a ride?
Well, you can have the whole thing back now, Toots. Sleeping Beauty Land is a flop.
Now, wait a minute. She's been asleep for 20 years, right?
Right.
Maybe people would pay money to talk to somebody who's been asleep for 20 years.
You mean...
Yes, we just wake her up.
We'll make a fortune. Go ahead and do it.
Who, me?
You put her to sleep, didn't you?
Well, frankly, no. I'm not really a wicked fairy. I'm just wicked.
But then how...
Easy. You kiss her. You're a prince, aren't you?
Well, not exactly. I never joined the union. I really make my living beating pigskins.
You mean...
Yes, I'm a hog flogger.
But just then a remarkable thing happened. Sleeping Beauty's eyes opened, and she sat up.
Don't worry, kids. I wasn't really asleep.
Then why the big 20-year act?
I just wanted to see if I could make it in showbiz.
Watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
Again?
Nothing up my sleeve. Presto!
Wrong hat.
I take a 7.5.
Now here's something we hope you'll really like.
Today's lecture is entitled Magic Made Easy, the Hard Way. There are 6 basic tricks, the first of which is the trickiest, namely, pulling a rabbit out of a hat.
This looks familiar.
Nothing up my sleeve. Presto! The more I try this, the further away I get. One of the most popular tricks, and least requested I might add, is sawing a man in half.
Here's your saw, Mr. Know-It-All.
Thank you. Here we go. Ta-da! Now I ask you, ladies and gentlemen, wouldn't you swear this man was cut in half? Go ahead, sir. Walk off the stage. Both halves, both halves. And now for the most difficult trick of all, the living pincushion. Step inside the box, Rock.
What are you gonna do?
You see these swords? Once you're inside, I shall pierce the box.
And me too?
Well, we hope not.
Well, I'm not going in there.
Very well. Then I shall call upon the services of my pet Jersey. Bossy, take your place in the box. There. Now Bossy and I will astound you. Taking the swords, I plunge them into every section of the box. Into the bottom, the top, the side. Sword after sword. Now you will see that although the box is perforated with swords, Bossy is untouched. Take a look inside, Rock.
I'm not gonna look in there.
All righty, I shall look myself. Now there you see. Holy cow!
And now...
Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
But...
See? Nothing up my sleeve. Presto! Wrong hat.
And now it's time to meet Mr. Peabody.
Hello out there. Peabody here. And of course, you know Sherman.
Where are we going today, Mr. Peabody?
Back to the 13th century, Sherman, for a visit to a very famous palace.
Does vaudeville go back that far?
Not the RKO Palace, the palace belonging to Kublai Khan, Emperor of all China. For today, the Wayback Machine will introduce us to that legendary world traveler, Marco Polo. Performing with its customary brilliance, the Wayback teleported Sherman and I into Kublai Khan's magnificent palace. However, you can imagine our dismay at finding Marco Polo inside a cell. And of all things, sewing.
Tell me your size and then leave. I'm very busy.
Size?
Your shirt size. Isn't that what you come for?
No, we came to see you, Mr. Polo.
That's strange. Everyone who comes in here usually wants me to make a shirt for them.
Polo shirts?
Sure. I make the mistake of teaching the Chinese how to play polo. Now I am compelled to make a genuine polo shirt for every man and woman and child in China.
Why don't you escape?
Because I wouldn't get very far. At least not without my passport.
Kublai Khan?
Yeah, he's steal it from me.
Sherman and I demanded an immediate audience with the great Khan.
You think I am a fool? Polo shirts is very big business for us. Now please to depart from Honorable Khan's presence.
Not without Marco's passport.
So, you wish to acquire a passport? Tell you what Khan gonna do. We're gonna gamble for it. Passport against your lives.
It's a deal.
We play one fast game of Chinese checkers. Winner take all.
The play began cautiously. It was during the middle of the game that I learned Kublai Khan couldn't be trusted. Not only was my opponent a master strategist, but he indulged in subterfuge, such as burning incense that clouded my vision, and occasionally referring to a book guaranteed to shake anyone's confidence. But in the end, superior intellect won out.
Well, it look like you win. All right. Kublai know when he been conned. You get passport. You like a try for two?
Thank you, no. One is all we require. We returned to Marco's cell and related the good news. However, no sooner were we inside...
We're locked in.
More Kublai Khan's dirty work.
Yes, but there's more than one way of skinning a Khan. Any tools about?
I got a needle and thread.
Thread will do.
Gee, Mr. Peabody, you're good enough to be in a rodeo.
I twirled my miniature lariat between the bars and encircled a ring of keys hanging on the wall. In a matter of minutes, we were free.
So far, so good. What's next?
The quickest way out of China is by boat. Head for the river. We arrived at the water's edge, but the only thing we found was a tiny rowboat.
Hey, couldn't I wait until something bigger came along?
And something did. Kublai Khan, followed by a horde of savage warriors who promptly lined both sides of the shore. This calls for a slight alteration in plans. I instructed Marco to row past Kublai Khan as fast as was humanly possible.
But those warriors have spears. Suppose they throw them.
The only thing they'll throw are words of encouragement. Come, Sherman, there's work to be done.
Now hear this. Now hear this. Aim spear at first thing that float down river.
You do, and you'll spoil the race.
What are you talking about?
The International Rowboat Regatta. We talked Marco Polo into rowing for China.
You did?
Of course, he doesn't stand much of a chance in a Chinese boat.
And what is wrong with Chinese boat?
Nothing. I merely...
I bet you 20 yen Marco win.
You're on.
Look, Imperial One! Escape prisoner coming down river! Shall we kill him?
Hey, you crazy? I got yen bet on that boy. Come on, Marco!
And so as the sun slowly settled in the west, so did Marco. Kublai Khan won his bet, Marco his freedom.
Well, at least he gave China the sport of polo.
He gave them one other sport, Sherman. Every afternoon, Marco would smack a rubber ball against the palace wall. Naturally, it caught on big with the Chinese population. And when that many people play handball, you need a lot of wall.
Is that why they built the Great Wall?
That's why, Sherman.
And now...
Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
Again?
Nothing up my sleeve. Presto! Ooh, don't know my own strength.
Now here's something we hope you'll really like.
Last time, you remember, our heroes and the Moon Men discovered that they couldn't leave Pennsylvania because everybody else in the country wanted to get out, too. As a result, our boys found themselves at the end of a waiting line a mile long.
But why do all these people want to leave?
Why are you going?
Well, let's be nice and say we just despise the place.
So do they.
Well, when's the next train leave?
Hard to tell.
Why?
Somebody stole the tracks.
Gee, this looks bad, Rocky.
You mean we're stuck here in Pennsylvania? Gee, how are we ever gonna get out?
Look there! That's how!
Tick-tock taxi company, 2 drivers, no waiting.
Oh, boy, a taxi cab! Quick, climb in! I wonder why they call this the Tick-Tock Taxi Company.
Rocky wouldn't have asked if he'd been able to see under the back seat, for the entire rear of the taxi was one big time bomb. Oh, who could have played such a fiendish trick on our friend?
2 guesses.
Well, it looks as if Boris and Natasha are really in the driver's seat at last.
But not for long.
How come we're stopping, Rocky?
I don't know. Hey, what's the trouble?
We got split king bolt in manifold housing.
That's bad?
Bad! If we don't get a new one, we'll strip the sleeve bushing right down to the gasket seal.
Yeah, that happened to an uncle of mine once.
Well, how long will it take to get a new one?
All depends, but don't worry. You won't have to wait long. Come on, Spike.
And the 2 spies sped off down the road, leaving our friends gathered around that highly explosive taxi.
Hey, what's that ticking sound? Must be the taxi meter. What taxi meter? Oh, come now, Gidney. Every taxi has a meter. Not this one.
Of course it does. And we gotta turn it off.
Yeah, or this ride'll cost us a fortune.
Must be here somewhere.
It's not in front, Bullwinkle. Not in here either.
When it goes off, Boris.
Any second now.
It's not underneath, Rocky.
Not in the trunk, neither.
But I can still hear it ticking.
Well, I give up.
Bullwinkle, look out!
Too late. Bullwinkle's weight had started the taxi running back down the road, and as our friends watched, it careened out of sight behind a hill. An instant later, there was a tremendous explosion, followed by a cloud of black smoke, followed by Boris and Natasha.
Bullwinkle, the taxi cab exploded. You know what that means?
Yeah, it means we'll never know how much we owe.
No, it means somebody's out to get us.
But why? We haven't done anything. Maybe that's the trouble.
Well, anyway, we're stuck here in Pennsylvania again.
Not necessarily, Rocky. Look there.
Sure enough, a little farther ahead, a sentry stood guard beside a barrier that stretched across the road.
Oh boy, a railroad station.
No, Bullwinkle, that's the border.
I was wondering where the tracks were. But who's that feller with the gun?
That's a sentry.
Boy, he sure needs a haircut.
That's his hat.
Well, he certainly has a tall head.
You Moomin got your papers ready?
We don't need any, Rocky.
Everybody needs papers to cross Pennsylvania border. Lots and lots of papers.
Not us.
Why not you?
'Cause we're not in Pennsylvania.
You're not?
No, we're across the border.
Hey, you couldn't do that.
But we just did.
Well, maybe you did, but your friends stay here permanent.
And the angry sentry raised his rifle and pointed it directly at our heroes. Don't miss our next episode, The Boundary Bounders, or Some Like It Shot.
Hello there. Today's poem is the beloved old nursery rhyme, Rocky My Baby. Rocky my baby on the treetop. When the wind blows, the cradle will rock. When the bough breaks...
Hold it! Hold it! You out of your mind, Moose?
No more than usual, GJ.
All right, get that cradle down here.
But GJ...
Look, this is a family show. No babies stuck in trees.
No.
We'd have the Baby Protection League on our necks in a minute.
Well, it's just a doll, really.
Who writes this stuff anyway?
Mother Goose.
Hello? Give me continuity. CP? We got a woman named Goose on the payroll. Uh-huh. Get rid of her. Yeah, the gander's gotta go too.
But the poem...
Sorry, too much violence.
But I like violence.
You like violence? You mean you like explosions? Trees falling? People being hit in the head?
No, I like violence 'cause they smell so nice.